is go back. What we're gonna do right here is go back. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, way back.
Alright, and welcome back to another Kumstyle review. What we've got here is Max Factory, their Max Gouken line. It is Big O, or the Big O. So as you can see here, the box is huge. I mean, this is way more zoomed out from my filming area than I normally have the camera ever. But the box is almost 17 inches tall in itself. So, taking a look at the box here. We've obviously got the picture of Big O on the front with some embossed looking pictures of him in the background. It's kind of cool. I believe this is actually kind of inset, the gold letters, the Big O, writing right there, and some writing cast in the name of God, ye not guilty. It's okay. Same on the side, as well as another embossed silhouette of the Big O, with the Big O under there too. And okay, same on the other side. On the bottom, just the Big O. Same with the top. And taking a look on the back, it is showtime. With the Big O in the middle, with his gimmicks, showing off some of his posability there, his weapons, and yeah, just an overall cool, huge box. Now, it is multi-layered, so this part comes off. Making sure I got room to take that off. And then you have this, okay? And don't worry, on the sides it's just, both sides, the Big O. But, you have the embossed looking picture of him here, and you open it up. Alright. It's pretty cool. It has show staff and things like that over on this side, as well as some autographing and things like that there. And this opens up, and there are two layers. This is normally where the gloves and instructions will go. I've already removed it. And behind that is, you can see from the outline there, where the figure would go. So, like I said, those are already removed, but there you have it. There's the box for Max Factory's Max Gouken Big O. Now let's go ahead and look at the figure itself. And alright, now just an overview of what comes in the box. Of course there is Big O, along with a couple of fists that swap out just via peg, as you can see right there. Personally, I'm not going to be swapping them out for this review, simply because he has fully posable fingers. There's no point. And the fists are actually quite well, you know. Also, that'll allow me to hold his weapon without, or his weapons without having to switch them back. He does come with his chain link weapons, and I'll show how those attach on during the accessory segment, as well as different versions of his three hooks that attach to the ends of the weapons. Rather than making them open and close and whatnot, they have completely closed, opening, open, like different stages, you know, and of course one for each one. So that's what's in the box, and let's get going on taking a look at the figure. Alright, so taking a look at Max Factory's Max Gouken Big O, the figure itself. We're going to start off with the measurement here, and it's just under 12 inches. That's about exactly 11 3/4. It's looking like from my end. Let me actually zoom in with the camera, if that helps. Nope, actually, yeah, just under 11 3/4. Haha, I'm not blind. So, alright, that's that part. Knocking that out, so you can see it's quite big. It doesn't necessarily scale with anything, including characters, well, I guess the other Max Gouken characters, like Gal Gagar and stuff like that, it definitely does. But if you're looking at lines like Soul of Chogokin, Super Robot Chogokin, this isn't going to be the one, you know, for scaling with those lines. But it is giant. It's represented as a very, very, very building-sized giant mecha in the television show. So, I mean, if you want to have them, you know, I guess especially big compared to your characters, I guess it won't really matter or look bad, you know? So, size-wise, it's cool. I love the big size. But anyway, taking a look at them from all angles. And I do want to point out, look at the textures on this guy. Just really, really phenomenally detailed. And it did come with screw covers as well. And this is one of the few times that I've actually went out of my way to not only put in the screw covers, but make sure they were all put in, you know, especially correctly. It's just a finely done figure. Now, as for the fact that it is a Gouken figure, you're wondering how much die-cast is in here. And I'm not going to lie, not too crazy much. You can definitely see it on the arms and whatnot. And you can tell there's some, you know, internally. I'm sure that the skeleton of this is completely die-cast. However, it being such a big figure overall, it seems a bit light for its size. You know, compared to, this is lighter than, let's say, the Max Gouken Galgagar, which is 7 inches tall. You know, 5 inches shorter, but still more hefty and dense than this guy. So, it might be a little bit off-putting, but at the same time, these are big limbs and whatnot, and a lot like their Dragon R1 figure, I think they went out of their way to do it purposely, in terms of being smart with the die-cast, because the more die-cast there is, like let's say this entire armor was die-cast and whatnot, it would be that much more prone to breakage, joints wearing out and things like that. And even though it feels a bit light for what it is, it doesn't feel light in general, if that makes sense. But anyway, I do want to go ahead, zoom in, and you can just see how much effort they went into giving it that more concrete, industrial, you know, gravelly type texture. Look at it top to bottom actually. And you can see the proportions are also just on, which is a great thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at his posability here. Alright. He has 2 layers to his neck. I guess I'll go ahead and zoom back in here while I'm zooming in and out this video. So the underlayer lets his head go up and down. And then the second layer of the neck gives him swivel. Oops. His helmet is coming off there. So, okay. And that's about the furthest his neck can go to the side. And for whatever reason, even after getting that initial turn out of the way, it is a very, very tight turn. So don't be afraid the first time. It's going to feel like you're going to break it, and a lot of times after that even. But after the first time, you'll obviously know the extent to which you can turn. So okay, taking a look at the arms here. Up and down movement. And you can hear that nice strong ratchet. Okay. Now, he doesn't have traditional bicep swivel, where the shoulder meets the bicep. It's actually at the elbow here. And accurately, his elbows don't do the in and out movement thing. Okay. Now his hands, going ahead and swiveling those. They do have that swivel there. And that's where the hands actually come out. Just so you can see how that removes. Actually, I can just show you right there. It's just a simple ball joint. So that ball joint is going to be the extent of his wrist movement there. So alright. And now I get to remember how this thing goes back on, which is great. Alright, and that pops in pretty easy. It helps that his hand's huge, but yeah. Fully articulated fingers. Alright, 3 joints in each finger, including the thumb, which is awesome. I think his thumb's literally as long as his fingers too. That's kind of weird. Don't remember the show that super well off the top of my head, but I don't remember his thumb being like that. Probably is though. Okay. Now, his legs, back and forth swivel. Not too much though. Definitely has a knee swivel. Not too crazy much. They do a good job of covering all of the joints up with this rubbery type deal that you saw when the hand came off. Same with the knees as well as the elbows too. Covers them up really well. You know, it stretches with it and whatnot. Nicely done. So, okay. And the feet definitely have full rock there. Even though his legs don't do a lot of posing, it's nice that, you know, the posing that it does do, he has the foot stability to go along with it. Okay, now we'll just go ahead and go head to toe with his gimmicks. Alright? The first one is going to be the fact that he has the light up head. So I'll go ahead and turn off one of my lights. Okay, let me reach across. Alright, and there's that part. You can see it actually lights up really well in the eyes and the bolts. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. And just so you know, it does come with batteries. Really easy to screw the back out. Right here. This whole piece just comes off. And I did, for that, use my handy dandy little screwdriver that I use for everything in these videos. That came with the iGear Cup upgrade set, the two heads for them. Alright, now going head to toe once again. Each of his arms, for his piston punch here, these pistons do come up. You pull it up and then you slightly turn it so it locks in place. And then they make it really cool. Like, you don't have to worry about doing anything too crazy to bring it back down. You just push in the fist. Boom. Okay. Now for his chest missiles, you just pull his chest up here, and you can see I actually want to zoom in. Just lift the chest up there, and boom. There you go. Now to put this chest back down, they are spring loaded, so you just spring it back in and push it back down, and it stays. Alright. Now, literally, head to toe, we'll go ahead and go here. And I'll tell you, this gimmick does not work the best, so here's hoping it works at all even. But there's a button on the back of the foot here. Press that and wow, that's literally the best it's worked, period. Alright, that works. But okay. And Roger's car comes out of his foot. It's spring-loaded gimmick. Button on the back of the foot, and to place the car back in, you just push it back in. And you feel the spring in there. Push it back, make sure it's touching the spring, and then it just locks in place. Alright, so that's pretty cool. And there are his gimmicks. Give you, whoops, bring the camera around there. But to give you one more look at Big O, there you go. Now let's take a look at his accessories. Alright, so looking at his accessories here, he does come with the two fists. We already saw how the hand just pops off the ball joint. Just switch that in. Nothing but a closed fist. So we're going to go ahead and forgo actually putting those on, since we've already taken a hand off. Put it on. Now, for these, there are, around this diamond, there are little triangle end pieces that can come off. So we'll just take a random one here. And they just pull out. Make sure to pull it out, you know, at a straight angle so you feel comfortable with it. And you just have a peg. You just peg it into that place. Okay. Now, I want to zoom in here so you guys can see it. It's just like any chain you buy at Michael's or anything like that. Has a little lever that opens and closes it. So we went over the different types of ends that go along with them. the completely closed opening and completely open. So I'll go ahead and just clip on, and these are plastic, by the way, with metal ends to go in. So I'll go ahead and clip that guy on. Alright, focus there. Okay. Oops, and it became unclipped. And that's just as simple as pegging it back in. So no big deal. But there's that part too. So you guys can see how that looks. Alright. And those are his accessories. Alright, and final thoughts on the Max Factory Max Gouken Big O. Honestly, great representation of the Big O mecha from the show. Nice gimmicks that actually all work. I wasn't too big on the car shooting gimmick because it kind of works half the time and then doesn't. And honestly, this review, that time, I was kind of sitting there with my fingers crossed, and it's the best that it's worked since I've gotten it. So that was random. But it's one that, even talking to other people who own it, don't expect that car to shoot like it should every time. I do like things like the moving pistons, and I like the ease of use of this thing too. It's a big figure with, I wouldn't say super complicated, but definitely intricate gimmicks that are things where retail toys or whatever, you know, overplay and stuff like that would definitely wear them out quick. But this doesn't seem like that's the case. It's engineered well enough to have those gimmicks not only work half decent, but last. So that's pretty cool. Size-wise, definitely impressive. Like we went over, it's 11 3/4 inches tall. Definitely a very, very big mecha. Very impressive on a shelf, no matter what you're collecting, in terms of super robots and whatnot. So overall, just a cool toy. Like I said, love the texturing and stuff like that. Aesthetically, it's very pleasing. Size-wise, very pleasing. The amount of die-cast, you know, as somebody who collects Gouken or die-cast figures, you get to the point to where you realize Gouken is cool, you know, die-cast, but at the same time, you realize it definitely has its place, and it's different on every toy. You don't want, you know, some fully transforming robot that's like full of die-cast, especially with little small pieces and stuff like that, because you begin to know the more die-cast there is, the more things are prone to like break and wear out due to the weight of die-cast. So I'm definitely glad that this one isn't, you know, full of die-cast just for it. The plastic is definitely strong, thick, sturdy. The finish is very well done. So I even, you know, messing around with the screw covers and stuff like that, I had to take my, whatchamacallem, man, eyebrow pluckers, whatever you want to call them. But, oh, tweezers. There we go, of all the things not to know. But the paint wasn't scratching or anything like that when I had to pull out a screw cover and whatnot. It's just very well done, very well finished. And that's on top of having a lot of detail to it too. So as a toy overall, it's solid. As a collectible, it's definitely solid. A lot more solid than a lot of collectible style figures you're going to get. Now, price. This figure right now is new at AmiAmi, which I would recommend getting. There are just too many gimmicks to buy this thing used. I would never buy this used because there's no return policy, no exchange policy, anything like that when you buy somebody else's stuff, you know. They could have used it and it could be the last time that gimmick's gonna work by the time you get to it. And then it's broken in your hand, and what can you do? Now, I recommend buying it new if you're gonna buy it, but $300 is quite a bit. This toy is awesome, but to me, Is it $300 awesome? No. No, not really. Because it's, one, there's not a lot of die cast to it. You know, it's still a big plastic robot for the most part. The accessories are very few. You know, 4 chains and, you know, a bunch of small heads for them, and just one set of fists to swap out, which don't even really need to be swapped out because, like we showed, these actually can form a perfect fist with the amount of articulation in the fingers. So, you know, literally pointless, you know, with that. And even the gimmicks and stuff like that, like, yeah, the lighter gimmick's cool. If I had to keep one, that would be the one that I'd keep. Something about the chest missiles definitely feels, I guess, weak or mediocre at best in terms of how often I'm going to use it. I've already taken the pictures for the pictorial review of this, and I'll probably never pull that thing up again. Just something about those thin panels and the springs and stuff. Yeah, it's definitely made solid, but I don't want to test that at all. The car gimmick, meh, doesn't even work half the time. Not something that, you know, I'd really pay extra money in a figure for. I wish that they would have taken out, you know, a lot of the silly little intricate gimmicks, because it's definitely a toy for what I think most people would use it for that's worth $200, you know, and $150 would be a steal. But $300 and then add on, you know, and I'd understand if it was $300 in hand. Okay, a little bit high, but hey, I'm getting it in hand. But add on, you know, shipping, and I only do EMS shipping. For me, that's, what, 80 bucks just for this one toy? So it's almost a $400 toy at that point. And that's not something that I'd recommend, you know, at those high prices. If you find it for a steal, you know, maybe $300 shipped or $250, yeah. But if it's like $300, $350 used, hell no, I would not recommend that at all. But overall, as a figure, once you get it in hand, especially if you are a Big O fan, I think this is the definitive Big O to get. But if you're not that big of a fan and kind of just want him because you are a Super Robot collector, maybe wait until there is the Super Robot Chogokin version that's supposed to come out either this year or next. I'm not exactly sure, but they're already showing, you know, fully done prototypes of them and stuff like that as well. And that's definitely going to fit better with most people's collection, because the Super Robot toys, or the Super Robot Chogokin toys, are a lot more accessible than these Max Gouken figures, and there are a hell of a lot more of them than the 5 Max Gouken figures that exist. But anyways, this has been TJ Duckett with another Kuma Style review. This is Max Factory's Max Gouken Big O. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.